All right, so this is going to be game 2 of Vortex Warriors versus Royal Knights. I'm learning how to play this deck. There's going to be a couple of misplays in this one, and some ones that actually affect how the game goes. So learn from my mistakes and do the same things that I did. But my opponent is going to start. I don't know why I told him to go first, but he's going to hatch and then play the Alphamon for 2 costs because of the Royal Knight reduction. I'm going to hatch, Digivolve into my Terramon, and then I'm going to go ahead and play the Shoto for 3. So Royal Knights pop all the Royal Knights on the field and then put them underneath the Yggdrasil, or put one underneath the Yggdrasil. And so my opponent's turn starts. He has 2 Yggdrasils in his breeding as far as like inheritables, and then the 1 Magnamon. So he plays the Royal Knight option that allows him to add a Royal Knight from hand into the breeding area. And essentially, he puts me at 3 memory. So the reduction of cost from Royal Knights does really affect what's going on, but I'm going to play the Terramon and get the Zephagamon and the Shoto. So Terramon does search a bird or avian and a Liberator or Vortex Warrior. Don't forget that Zephagamon does have a rule where it's treated as Bird Dragon. And then I'm just going to play Shoto for 3, passing turn. Really waiting for my opponent to just kind of put bodies on the field so I can start doing my plays. Again, if your opponent's not putting bodies on the field, there's really not much you can do. But at some time, they have to play a card. So it's just a waiting game at that. Don't get too overzealous trying to go off onto all your plays and then you get punished for it. My opponent's going to play the Magnamon for 2, and then, or Magnamon putting him at 2, and then, or putting him at 1, and then plays the Cool Boy. And then, so I start off my turn. Shoto's getting me 2 memory. We're going to go into the Grand Gale for 2 cost, or for the Galemon for 2 cost. Now, the Galemon, by suspending a Digimon, he'll gain 2k DP. I don't know why I did not suspend that Magnamon. I really, really do not understand that. And that's going to happen a couple of times here. There is actually some discussion about this after the game, which now looking back at it makes sense. Sorry, Jimmy. But we're going to go into Grand Gale, suspending my Tarot for the protection. And then we are going to Digivolve the Grand Gale. I'm going to make sure that I get the protection no matter, as long as I suspend something that's mine, not the Grand Gale. But I'm going to Digivolve the Grand Gale into Zephagamon at this point, and we're going to do some plays to get rid of the Magnamon and Pierce as well. So looking back at it, I could have suspended the Magno with my Galemon, and then once I got into the Zephagamon, I could just suspend it and then unsuspend it. I really don't know what I was thinking at the time, but we're going to do this kind of weird. So we're going to Digivolve, put my opponent at 3. Zephagamon's going to suspend the Magnamon, and then unsuspend the Terramon. Maybe I wanted 2 blockers. I really don't know what I was thinking. But we're going to double Shoto, giving both Zephaga and Terramon piercing blocker. And then Zephaga is going to Vortex into the Magnamon. Grand Gale will allow it to unsuspend because it's attacking a suspended Digimon. And then he gets the DP boost from the 2 inheritables. I'm pretty sure I quoted that he does get a DP boost from the Galemon at that. That is incorrect. You got to suspend something in order to get that DP boost. So don't make that mistake, people. But I'm still big enough to survive the Omnimon check because it also gets the 3k from unsuspending. Or when a Digimon is unsuspended, he gets 3k and the protection for the turn. But now that it's my turn, or my opponent's turn, he's going to play the Gallantmon. I do have the protection from the Gallantmon's pop effect, so the only thing he pop is the Terramon. And then we're gonna start having a conversation here about what my DP's at and what effects that I have and all those sorts of things. This deck really needs reboot. Now that I think about it, giving that Zephagamon the protection on my opponent's turn just for rebooting would be awesome. My opponent did use the Cool Boy, by the way, to keep memory at his turn. So otherwise, the Gallantmon would have put me at 1. He is going to swing with the Gallantmon. And I am actually just going to Blast Evo. So that's how I'll get rid of this body. And this also keeps it from going back under the Yggdrasil during my opponent's next turn. So it'll suspend itself, bottom deck the Gallantmon, and then unsuspend itself. All right, and so he plays the option to search some Royal Knights, and that's going to put me at 1 memory. There's really not a lot I can do with 1 memory, but now that I have the Zephaga Ace, I can swing at his life and start chipping away at him. I do get an unsuspend once per turn whenever it is suspended. But we'll Digivolve in the back. We will go ahead and start attacking. First, make sure we don't have anything in our hand that we could do, but we only have 1 memory, so we don't. So we're going to swing, unsuspend. It survives. Swing again. Survives. And I saw my opponent pull the Oryukin, so I know this thing is going to die during my opponent's turn. He is going to get the overflow, so I don't want to give him too much memory. Instead, I'm going to actually just play the agility training. Search off the Zephaga Ace. Perfect. So I got that play for another turn. All right, so he's going to play the Oryukin essentially for free and then use the Cool Boy to gain a memory and draw 1. It's the DP reduction to my Zephaga Ace, so he's gone, and I lose the memory from Overflow. Then he'll use the Royal Knights option that plays the Alphamon from Breeding and start swinging at me. The Digimon played from that does get a rush, but doesn't get any on-play effects. The Oryukin does gain 3 memory whenever security is removed. So that's now my opponent has 9 to work with, which is a significant amount of memory. But he's going to go ahead and play Craniumon. So he starts explaining to me that this Craniumon has some sort of protection. I didn't really understand it, so I had to read it. I still don't understand it, which is probably what caused the huge misplays during this turn. But at this point in time is where I'm going to essentially take back the game. And there is going to be a huge misplay here as well that could easily be played around. So this is just something that when y'all are playing this deck, kind of look out for this. So we'll pop the training, go into the Galmon for free. And then the Galmon, again, you got to suspend something to get them extra DP. I'm very unsure if it really matters, but it makes a difference in the long run, especially if it's passing over to your opponent's turn still. And for some reason, I choose not to suspend something. I really don't know what I was thinking here. What the thought process was behind not suspending, for example, the Alphamon or the Craniumon or anything like that. But then we are going to go ahead and go into the Grand Gale. And I really think it was the Craniumon that was confusing me. The protection from effects, which I really don't know what it was. Oh, I'm sorry. We're going to play the Scramble first in order to go into the Grand Gale, so that'll essentially make the Grand Gale a 2 cost instead of a 3. Grand Gale will suspend itself. And then we're going to pay the memory to go into Zephaga 8, or regular Zephagamon, suspending the Oryukin to unsuspend itself. And then we're going to go into Zephaga Ace. So Zephaga Ace, he is going to get the unsuspend here. This is a misplay, by the way, that you'll see how it affects later, but I get the overflow. So the unsuspend was the once per turn. When he's suspended, you can unsuspend him. And then I get the 3K from Zephaga Ace. And then the 2Ks from the Inheritables. I am really big. I did count that Galemon effect, but that we start having discussion about DP in this, and that's when he's explaining the Gelmon that I don't get the DP. And so we're explaining how that works. All my unsuspends. I did miss one, unfortunately, and this is going to cost him the game. But I think I was kind of had a major lead at this point, so I know it really wouldn't have mattered. Then I'm going to swing at the. Well, hold up. Before I do that, we're actually going to play the Shoto, so we can get the redirect. And I'm going to swing at the Alphamon using Grand Gale to unsuspend. So I shouldn't have gotten one of those unsuspends from this Safaga Ace, and that's really what we start having a conversation about. But he's going to block with the Cradymon, and I still pierce. And then swing for game. Yeah, so I got this one. I shouldn't have, as far as that turn specifically, because I got an extra unsuspend, and then we start talking about the DP boost from the Gelmon. So those things are things to definitely watch out for whenever you're playing this game. You have a lot of effects that go off, and you want to make sure that you're doing them properly. But thanks for watching, and we are working on Game 3. Game 3 will be posted very soon. Keep an eye out for that.